Hello, I'm Lucas, and this is a bit of lit, and I want to talk about this book, James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. It was my first Roald Dahl book ever, and I read it because I had to read it for work, because I teach literacy to Chinese students, or I will soon enough, to get them to learn to read, write, and ask questions and all that kind of stuff in English, so that they will have a brighter future in the event that they want to study in America or Australia or wherever. So yeah, that's why I read it, and I'm kind of making this video to get some thoughts out so that it can be a little more solid in my head when I do my little presentation thing in a couple days, to get kids interested in reading this book and then read it with me. So you probably already know what this book is about. I had only ever seen the movie like 20 years ago or something, and I was not a fan of it, but this book, the whimsy of it is great. There's a lot of just wild circumstances that James, who's 4 years old or so, or he starts off at 4 when his parents are eaten by a rhinoceros that has escaped from the London Zoo and are eaten whole. And then he goes to live with his aunts Spiker and Sponge, who are cruel, evil people who don't care about him, don't want to treat him well, don't want to raise him at all. And he's miserable. And one day, a mysterious man comes by and gets his attention and says, "Hey, you look upset." Yeah. And he offers James these little magic beans that seem to be sentient. And he tells him, "Oh yeah, put this in water and then put 10 strands of your hair and drink that, and then steam will come out of your mouth and everything will be better." Which is suspect at best. But unfortunately for James, he drops it next to the peach tree that has never given fruit, seemingly ever. And he's so upset by that. But all of a sudden, it grows a peach. And it grows and grows and grows and grows, and it becomes giant. And Spiker and Sponge see this as a good way to make profit by selling tickets for people to see. And James wants to get in on it, just to be like maybe the ticket holder person, because there's going to be lots of kids. But they don't want any part of that because they think he's going to ruin everything. And later in the day, he hasn't eaten and he hasn't been able to do anything. And they kick him out because he's ungrateful and hasn't been doing his housework. And that's when James is outside and he enters the peach. And he meets a wild cast of characters: a ladybug, a grasshopper, an earthworm, a glowworm, which is a firefly with no wings, a female firefly, a centipede with 42 legs, not 100, and the earthworm will fight you on that. There's another one, a spider. I think I'm missing one. That might be all of them. And it is just so incredible. There's lots of great... there's a lot of great parts too. It's very funny, especially the dynamic between the earthworm, who is this sort of constant worrier, and the centipede, who is proud to be a pest. And he fulfills his role greatly. He pesters everybody with his bad jokes and his behavior. But there's a lot of, bits about friendship and leadership and you know, they just go through crazy adventures. One moment they're rolling around, next moment they're in the water, and then they're flying, and then they're crashing down, and it's just wild. And makes me wish that I had grown up with Roald Dahl. I'd only, as I said, this is my first book of his. I have only read this book and none others, and I keep saying the same thing because I'm trying to say what I grew up with was Harry Potter, and I just can't go back to it anymore. You know, it's been ruined for me, and it just needs to stay in my childhood. But this book, and probably others, I don't know, are a treasure, and I wish, I mean, they were there when I was a kid, but I didn't know about them. I read Harry Potter and Goosebumps were great, and Harry Potter was great. And now I realize, probably not, but I really love how they, whenever there's a problem, they always come to James to see what he thinks, to see how he will solve the problem. And I think that's great, especially for kids, and the lightheartedness of it and everything. It's really great fun, and I will, while I did read this for work, I hope that I think, you know, because I work at a library that teaches English literacy, I hope that they have other books of his, because I would love to enjoy those too. That's about all I have to say. I can't praise it enough.